Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Tel Aviv. Coming up in today's newscast, the manhunt continues for the suspect in a major terror attack in Tel Aviv. The mayor of Tel Aviv slams the Israeli prime minister, and Israel responds to Gaza rocket fire. I'm Natasha Kirchak here with the latest news in Israel. The new year in Israel began in a very tragic way. A massive manhunt continues today for a shooter who killed 2 people and wounded 7 in a terror attack in Tel Aviv on Friday. I live just around the corner from the incident, and I happened to be eating at a cafe next door when the attack took place. And I can tell you that everyone living in Tel Aviv is on high alert following the tragic attack. The suspect Nashat Milhem opened fire on a popular pub on Dizengoff Street in Tel Aviv on Friday afternoon, and he managed to hurt 9 people before escaping. 2 Israelis were killed and 7 more were injured. Milhem is now on the run and is suspected to be hiding in the Tel Aviv area. He's supposedly still armed with the submachine gun he used in the attack. He was identified as an Israeli Arab from the northern village of Arara, after his father saw him in video footage from the attack and reported his son to the police. His father is a security guard and police volunteer, and Milhem allegedly stole his gun to carry out the attack.
הבן שלי, שמעתי שהוא בתל אביב ועשה מה שעשה. אני לא חנכתי אותו בצורה כזו, ואני מצטער על מה שהוא עשה. וכשנודע לי על המקרה, אני באופן אישי, בכוחות עצמי, הגעתי לתחנה ואני סייעתי לכל זרועות הביטחון מכל הכיוונים. חבר'ה, אני מודה לכם מאוד, זה אחד. 2, אני מאחל לכל חולה שיגרע, ואני משתתף בצעריהם לכולם. זה לא חשוב אם זה ערבי או אם זה יהודי. תודה רבה לכם.
Milhem previously served a 4-year prison term for attacking a soldier in an attempt to steal his weapon. The suspect's brother, Juadat Milhem, is being held on suspicion of direct involvement in the attack. Police are swarming Tel Aviv in search for the suspect. They're warning the public to be alert, and there are fears that he may attempt to take a family hostage or attempt a second shooting attack. The mayor of Tel Aviv says parents can keep their kids home, although police are stepping up security around Tel Aviv schools. On Saturday, Prime Minister Netanyahu condemned the attack as Israelis continue to mourn.
אתמול היה כאן רצח מתועב. האכזריות היא בלתי נתפסת. צעירים כל חייהם לפניהם, בגיל של הילדים שלי, יושבים לתומם לחגוג יום הולדת, והם נרצחים בדם קר.
The 2 young men who were tragically murdered in the Tel Aviv attack on Friday were laid to rest today. The 2 fatalities in the attack were named as 26-year-old Alon Bakal of Carmiel and 30-year-old Shimon Ruimi of Ofakim. They were both buried in their hometowns this afternoon. Bakal was the manager of the pub where the shooting began and was due to start interning at a law firm. Ruimi was a civilian employee of the IDF, and he was attending a birthday party for a friend of the establishment. Meanwhile, 2 more of those injured in the attack remain in the hospital in serious condition. They've slightly improved after undergoing surgery on Saturday. 1 victim underwent emergency surgery for a bullet wound to the head, and the other is being treated for stomach injuries. 5 others were also hurt in the attack with light to moderate wounds. The mayor of Tel Aviv is accusing the Israeli prime minister of promoting hostility towards Israeli Arabs following Friday's terror attack in Tel Aviv. Mayor Ron Huldai says Netanyahu is failing in his duty to protect citizens from terrorism. Huldai's criticism came after Netanyahu spoke at the scene of the Tel Aviv terrorist attack last night and vowed to root out lawlessness and incitement among Israeli Arabs.
כולנו יודעים שיש הסתה פרועה של האסלאם הקיצוני נגד מדינת ישראל בתוך המגזר הערבי. מי שרוצה להיות ישראלי, שיהיה ישראלי עד הסוף. גם בזכויות וגם בחובות. והחובה הראשונה והעליונה היא לציית לחוקי המדינה.
Huldai claims Netanyahu's speech blames the entire Israeli Arab community for Friday's terror attack and was done out of frustration at his inability to provide security for citizens. The Likud party has now accused Huldai of playing politics in the aftermath of the Tel Aviv attack. The Tel Aviv mayor is a possible candidate for the leadership of the opposition Zionist Union Party. For now, the Israeli Prime Minister is vowing to increase security services in the Arab-Israeli sector. Israel has returned the bodies of 23 terrorists to the Palestinian Authority in an attempt to ease tensions. ILTV's Aaron Porras has more on the story.
14 of the bodies were from Hebron. Thousands of Palestinians gathered in the city to bury the attackers, which were held by Israel after they had been killed while carrying out attacks. The city's Al-Hussein Mosque overflowed with people, where the 14 bodies were on display before prayers. Relatives kissed the foreheads of the deceased, some of whom were covered with flags of Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Prayers were also held in a nearby stadium, while hundreds of others waited outside in the cold. Israel does not always immediately return the bodies of slain attackers, for fear mass funerals will be held that incite more violence against Israel. Yet since the recent wave of violence erupted in October, the IDF has returned a total of 76 bodies. Reporting for ILTV, this is Aaron Porras.
In other violence over the weekend, 5 rockets were fired from the Gaza Strip at Israel. And this time, gunmen affiliated with the Islamic State terror group claimed responsibility. 2 of the rockets hit an open area in the Sha'ara Negev region of Israel. There were no injuries or damage reported. The Ansar Beit al-Maqdis group issued a statement hailing its attacks on occupied Palestine, boasting that it turned night into day for Israeli residents. Despite the group's statements, Israel says it still holds Gaza's Hamas rulers responsible for any attacks emanating from the territory. Indictments were filed today against 2 Jewish suspects for involvement in the firebombing attack that killed 3 members of the Palestinian Dawab family. 21-year-old Amiram Ben Uliel of Jerusalem was charged with murder in the attack which took place last July in the Palestinian village Duma. The second suspect is a minor who is not allowed to be named, and he was charged with being an accessory to the murders. A gag order has now been lifted, revealing details of plans for the attack. 3 additional suspected Jewish terrorists were also charged today for numerous other attacks against Arabs on their property. The incidents included an arson attack against a renowned Dormition Abbey on Jerusalem's Mount Zion, the burning of a Palestinian taxi in the West Bank village of Yasuf, and an assault on a Palestinian shepherd near the Kochav HaShachar settlement. And yet another sign of improving relations between Israel and Turkey, the Turkish president has publicly stated that his country must accept its need for Israel. As the 2 nations seek to thrash out a deal on normalizing ties, Recep Tayyip Erdogan told reporters that Israel is in need of a country like Turkey in the region, and that Turkey must also accept that it needs Israel. He added that if sincere mutual steps are implemented, the normalization of ties between both countries will follow. Analysts have suggested that Turkey's reconciliation with Israel has been accelerated by Ankara's need to make up for its crisis in ties with Russia, following the shooting down of a Russian warplane. It's time for our Hebrew word of the day. We had a pretty rainy weekend here in Israel, and what beautiful sight comes after the rain? A rainbow, or keshet ba'anan in Hebrew. Keshet ba'anan literally means an arc in the clouds. The first word keshet can mean an arc or arch. In the Torah, the rainbow was known as a sign from God representing his covenant with Noah. The covenant was to never flood the earth again. Thankfully, we saw a large rainbow here in Tel Aviv on Saturday, so ideally, this promise is still being kept. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Tomorrow is expected to be rainy in the morning with a high of 64 degrees. The rain should clear by Tuesday, and the temperature will go up to 66. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.88 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at ILTV.tv, and don't forget to check out our new breaking newscast every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.